Join us live on the Sherry Lord Talk Show podcast. Start your day off with a higher vibrational podcast with weekly guests covering spirituality, healthy foods, and so much more. Go to sherrylord.com for more info. Hi, everybody. Good morning, everyone. I'm your influencer host, Sherry Lord. Thank you for joining us this morning. Let us know you are here and make sure you chat hi, because Michael Sue Scott, who's a very special guest of ours, is going to be giving away a 30-minute reading. You don't want to miss this. And she's got an amazing topic called miracles, and that's everyday stuff. And we can all use tips and more in depth on that and how to use it and work with it in our life. We're so excited. And by the way, if you want to place an ad with us, and it be an event you have, a product you have, or a business you want to offer, go to www.sherrylord.com, and there's a information there where you can pay there, and you'll get a form sent to you. You just got to email me, and I'll be more than happy to send it to you. But we are excited to have Michael Sue Scott on our show. She is a repeated, beautiful guest that we have because she's on demand. People love her. And Michael, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
She is a trusted psychic, angel, intuitive, and medium, Reiki Minister, meditation teacher, crystal healer, animal intuitive, bringing messages of love with an inspired spirit connection. She is a conduit for archangel guidances and ascended masters. As an energy reader, a clairsentient, she uses her gifts to present practical solutions to your questions. No physical touch is necessary. She uses tarot cards as a visual expression for clarification and understanding. And she's got a unique gift. We all have them. But her gift is she uses the vibration of your voice, saying your birth name, and in order to know your personal energies, working in love and light. Welcome, Michael. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you, Sherry.
I want to make sure that everybody, I'm going to click on my comment page here. I think we got somebody coming in. Kathy Drum, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We want to make sure, thank you for chatting, because that's the only way you can get in the drawing is if you, Lynn is here. Whoa. Remember, she's giving away a 30-minute reading. She's amazing. And she's got a lot to share with us today about miracles.
So do you want me to just go?
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to share an experience and then just kind of posit a few questions to people and maybe get a little interaction going with the texts and stuff. But basically, when we all have our experiences when we're first getting started on our spiritual path that are like pivotal for us. And one of the things that I have noticed is that, when you first start putting it out there to the universe that you're ready for spiritual growth, that the universe responds and will usually put you in some type of contact with either a mentor, an author is really good, because then there's no ego involved. There can be information that comes to it, not information that is, just seems like it comes out of nowhere. And for a lot of people that, believe in synchronicities and everything, there is a component to it that seems like it's a miracle, right? When you meet the right person who leads you in some sort of direction that puts you on a really clear path. And, we have paths that are open and we have closed patterns. So it's like the open ones are where times when spiritually you can just like go on your own and there's no like direct person or direct events that are happening. And then other times it's like you don't have a choice. It's like fated and things like that. And so sometimes those look like little mini miracles. Other times there's also something a little bit deeper that's really going on that has to do more with help from beyond. which are also around us. So the beyond and here are both the same thing, because, you know, Earth is about the only place where we really have time. Time is a concept that we use here that most places don't. So when, for instance, okay, so here's a little story that I'd give you. So when I was first really set on a path back in the, I guess, mid 90s, I had signed up to I was going to become a Reiki master. And the person that was doing my Reiki attunement was in the middle of going through kind of a breakup, but she was amazing. And she was a shaman, she was a Reiki master, just a really good spiritual teacher as well. Very well read, which I think is one of the most important things. Make sure you have lots of experience and read a lot. And so when I went to get one of my attunements, I don't remember, I should look that up at some point, but whether I got my Reiki 1 or my Reiki 2, during that session, all of a sudden okay, so your blank screen is what, when your eyes are closed, sometimes people, you know, see images on your blank screen. So when I first, my first teacher, who was not like somebody I knew, came through. His name was Seth. And I was, I'd been in the session for a little bit. And so I didn't know what was going on, but on my blank screen, Seth was spelled out in a specific font, which was ×2 Roman, very, you know, very, and with a hyphen and all caps. And I heard at the same time that I see this, I heard, I'm Seth. And then my Reiki Master just finished up with the attunement. And she said, okay, we're finished. And I said, who's Seth? And she goes, I don't want you channeling. And I didn't even know who she was talking about. I was like, channeling. I mean, I just want to know, who is Seth? And she took me into another room and she started looking. She said, I know I have all of his books and you can, you know, borrow one. And we went into the other room. Okay, so this is where the fun stuff really starts to happen. Go into the other room and it's a big wall of books with a fireplace in the middle and a lamp, like a reading lamp over on the side. And when it was really late. I think it was already like 10 o'clock at night and she was tired and moving, right? So she was worn out. And so went over and I'm like thinking, oh my gosh, I really need to see what these books look like, at least so that I know what I'm looking for in the bookstore. And I said, well, what does it say? And she goes, well, it says Seth and Seth on it. And I had gone and leaned against a wall underneath that lamp. And I turned my head and it was right there. Now, I never would have seen that if I hadn't somehow made my way over to this wall and leaned under a lamp and it was such a strange position. And so I said, oh my gosh, I found it. And I pull it out. It's Seth Speaks. It's his very first book that was channeled by Jane Roberts that was published. So it was like the most important one. And it was super important to me throughout. Oh, it still is. I mean, Seth has just been wonderful explaining how other dimensions work and how we work as, you know, little spiritual beings. And so I always think that, you know, somebody going in and actually reading the physical books is super important to your spiritual growth because the information is so valuable. One of the things that also happened was I was in a later point, I'm still reading, and I was on lunch break, and I went home and I was laying out on my deck. I was going to go back to work. It was just, you know, wanting to get a little sun in winter. And when I was reading, everything was fine. I'm like, so, you know, all the information is so fresh and new and so like interesting. And it makes you think about how your life is working as well. And so when all of a sudden I get sleepy, I get to this one point and he's talking about other dimensions and I get all of a sudden my eyes just feel like they're super heavy. And this was, you know, personal to me because I never used bookmarks. I always memorized the page I was on. And so when I'm looking at this page and I'm like, I am so sleepy. And it was like, I stared at the number because I was like, I've got to memorize where I stopped. And so the number, I could see two numbers at the same time. Sounds kind of like, oh yeah, well, your eyes were blurry or whatever. And I looked at those two numbers and they were all made from the same numbers. I'm just reading about sometimes when you're doing something, if you pay attention, that you can see like remnants or pieces of other dimensions, realities. And I looked at that number and I went, I wonder what's on that other page number that I'm seeing. And I opened up that page, and in the entire book, this doesn't happen anywhere else, but it is two blank pages, exactly where that number is supposed to be. And I just laughed. I just thought, oh my gosh, this is the biggest joke. I have just had my first teacher give me a spiritual joke. And I just thought that was the best thing ever. So, you know, I've had a lot of people, you know, say, oh, nobody's supposed to channel Seth and all that. I'm like, he would come through in dreams and give me information again about how our universe really works, about how we are, and about us being light beings. And I just always go back to that whenever, you know, sometimes it doesn't matter. You're on your spiritual journey and you are connected to God, spirit, all it is, all of those things that we're doing. But we also have times where things are just harder and all of the physical world seems to like have like all these changes where we like not having change, but change is where our growth happens. And so sometimes these little things, that was a real specific one and looks much more like help from the other aspects of the universe, which, like, you know, angels don't really talk, they emote. So it's a higher form of communication really sometimes than what we do, but we can emote too. And we can place visual images of things when we're trying to communicate with people. We can give them that to grab onto so that they understand more about our communication. But the main thing I wanted you to know is that with miracles and help from other dimensions or help from other, I mean, we'll just say entities, because, you know, angels are that as well, that, you know, we have a lot of help around us, but sometimes we don't know how to use that information in order to make our lives better or to create rapid growth spiritually, because, you know, we just get kind of stuck in doing the same thing. We may go to the same psychic, or we may go to, and we're asking the same questions, because usually what I find different way of doing readings for people these days, where I am looking at a specific period of time in 3 different specific periods of time, and where the initial information came through that made us think a certain way about a topic. And so sometimes that can look like, you know, our mother really wanted to go back to work, but, you know, that wasn't done. It wasn't that, maybe the finances didn't allow it or something. And then, you know, there is people pleasing involved, and sometimes self-esteem issues from not being able to do, and kind of placating society and other family members, and not being able to do what we really, really want to do. And that comes up, and it also gets transferred to the child. And so one of the things that I work with is like giving people tools to release the, you know, sometimes it's just transferred sticky energy that stays on us, you know, and that we learned how to respond to the world in certain circumstances. And so what I do is I give people the tools to release that, so that they can go ahead and make, you know, make a better life for themselves. Because when you change, and you heal personally for yourself, you not only change you, but you also, because of all of these other realities and dimensions that are happening at the same time, you also are healing. We're going to go back to that example of the mother who couldn't go back to work because of pressure and everything. We relieve that from her, and it changes lives. And It also makes it, so if it was originally a self-esteem issue, it also makes it to where your children do not, from that point on, really include that in their lives. Now, we can learn karmic lessons at any given point. We can choose to make, bad decisions in our lives or ones that aren't really productive for us. And sometimes it's just other dimensions coming in and making you have a different hobby. If I'm still on here, I guess I should keep going.
You are. Keep going. It's just a little freeze for some reason, but you're still doing great. Just continue. Thank you.
So, so basically, one of the interesting things about how other dimensions work along with ours is that we don't, that threw me off. So I will say that our experience where we heal and are on our spiritual journey heals others around us. The easiest thing for healing to take place is usually within the primary family, because we tend to cycle with those people over and over for a while in order to complete like familial patterns and things like that. Just for it's easier for us to come back in sometimes into a I call them, remember how we would call them COVID pods, where you had a couple of people, you knew what they were up to, you knew where they were going to be, and if they were, they were limiting their people to just their COVID pod, well, they're like spiritual pods. And one of the things that shows up for me is when somebody is completing a spiritual growth spurt through a certain group of people, and then once that's done, there's less of them. I mean, I usually know who is going to be impactful for next lives, so that when we get down to somebody who is coming in and they're coming in a brand new one, I mean, this is like all brand new people for their spiritual pod. And then the other way is when this is their very last one, and they may have help from people who are already passed over, who want to see them finish out this lifetime in a really, strong and helpful way. And then after that, they're going to be traveling with all new spiritual people. So it's just a very interesting concept. And so when you know who you are working with and traveling with, and possibly like there's a great grandmother or something like that you are bonded with, and they have a vested interest in seeing you grow as spiritually as you can, because you're going to come back and maybe you're going to be husband and wife or whatever, but they're like that spirit, that white light that's in them is connected between your spiritual pod, but it's also connected all over the entire world, right? So one of the techniques that I'm trying to put a lot of information in this in a short amount of time, but one of the interesting things is I like to visualize our world inside of this, like just basically see the earth in this way. And that when I start my meditation, I like to envision it with white and gold light. And that's all of the prayers going out, all of the hopes, dreams, joy, optimism, because our world is an optimistic place. And we get caught up in what's really happening day to day, and we've got to fix things. But the world's an optimistic place, and we can lose sight of that sometimes day to day. But if you are able to go into meditation, I like to do love meditations, but when you do a meditation for the whole world, it increases our light and our capacity for love. And that's what, one of the main reasons we're here and what we're here to do. So I think it's super important to try to connect with all of the people that we know and see, but with also the people who are in our past, who have, who are contributing to us just in much the same way that Seth contributes to me, but he's not somebody I've ever met in real life, how they are all working with us in order to promote our spiritual growth. And so anyway, so when you see miracles happening, synchronicities, all of these things are all related to all of the help, love, and joy that we have surrounding us in order to bring us into our full, bring us up into our full potential for growth. Okay. Do you have any questions about that? Or I would love to hear from you.
We have a lot of people that are joining us. We have Alina. I'm just trying to see what happened to my comments. They kind of like went out. We have a lot of people joining us. We talked about Lynn. Kathy's here. Alina, such a wonderful intuitive reader. She has helped me in many ways. I don't know if this is called Neil, but I hope I pronounced the name right. Hi. Will I meet my boyfriend in person this year? If yes, what possible month? That's a good
question. Put your information in there for the free 30-minute reading.
Absolutely. And we're going to be doing that drawing. That's going to be exciting. And we have Lynn Baldwin. I would love the name of the book, Seth. Who? She wants
Seth
to know
Speaks.
about
It's Seth Speaks. I have a little bit of a list, a little Drew Barrymore list, but it's SETH and SPEAKS. And those were, I never read like the background information. I only read the quoted stuff because I felt so connected to Seth when I was reading that I didn't want to know how people were channeling, and they were trying to prove it because it's real, so that doesn't matter. But the actual written information was in quotes throughout the book, and that was channeled by Jane Roberts back in the they started doing all this stuff in the late 60s and 70s and everything, and it went through I think into the 80s. I'm on a bunch of Facebook Seth groups just because I like to monitor, because I'm thinking that I can't be the only one who's had direct contact with him, but it's so specific that people try to say, oh well, I've had something that happened because of Seth. Well, we all who've been reading, when you read the Seth books, you'll have interesting and what look like little miracles. You'll have things that will happen to you for just the reason of you tapping into that kind of dramatic information about how the world really works. Because, some people don't do this kind of stuff that y'all are interested in. If you're watching this, then you're interested in the same stuff that we're talking about. If you're not, then you're going to be watching ESPN or the news or something like that. And that's going to be the most important part of your day. And, our spiritual growth comes in kind of fits and spurts. You'll have a huge block of time where a lot of things may happen. And then you may actually, have times when you feel less connected. And, I never forget this because I have a bunch of people who have been here that are also like little, spiritual people for me. And one of them is Mother Teresa, because, she went through most of her life. She did all these amazing things. And, but for the longest part of the last part of her life, she didn't have any kind of direct communication from God about what to do next. And she just went with her faith. And so sometimes you need to do that. But a lot of times we want little things that just remind us to keep going, finding feathers that, symbolize somebody that, spirit is usually where people go with that. But like butterflies or, things that are in nature that like you don't have control over where they are and when they're going to present themselves to you. And so those are things that a lot of times those are reminders from people who've already passed that are trying to help you and like keep you optimistic and keep you on your spiritual path. And one of the things that I would like to bring up is a technique that I give to my customers when I see they need it. Okay. Because everything's based on your specific wants and needs and how you're working. But the one of the ways when people have trouble with addictive behaviors, a lot of times it usually comes down to trying to self-medicate because of either something that's ancestral, or it's something that happened in earlier childhood, because I keep seeing the same patterns over and over that they're reliving. And so those things are easy to get rid of. And a lot of it's identifying what they are and then being able to release it. When you're asking for help from specific people, it is a good idea to like try to do a meditation that allows you to know what kind of nature symbols are out there, so that you can on an ongoing basis like have confirmation. You know, you have a butterfly that comes, or a bee. Bees have facial recognition, and the bee just like comes up to your face and is just like in front of you, and that's like maybe a touchstone for one of your, your grandmothers or something like that. I kind of went off there. That whole thing with the thing glitching out kind of threw me off a little bit. But basically, there's a lot of really beautiful things that happen that look like miracles, that really are coming from our helpers, our teachers, our spiritual guides. And all of that, like I said, is all connected through our, that white light that surrounds our earth, and that we all tap into through group prayer, which people may not like the word prayer. Just think group intention, because these things that we talk about and that we give words to, okay, are all the same thing, no matter what the words. There may be little nuances that may be different and everything, but pretty much for the most part, it's like, that's the part where you being able to place a heartfelt feeling about something into somebody else's mind when you're talking to them and you're giving them visual information. That's what really helps with communication with others. Mm-hmm. So anyway, did anybody out there who's watching this have any questions at this point?
We have, let me go back. We want to say thank you to, we got a couple more people in here. I just want to make sure I got everybody. I don't want to hide that. I want to bring it in. What the hell happened here? We got Kathy up here. I'm trying to get out of there. I'll bring her back up, but I just want to say thank you to Tanya for joining us. She said, good morning, guys. We have Kathy Thorson, who says, good morning, Michael and Sherry. And she was delighted to see you again, Michael. I met you at the Florida Expo, my husband's first reading. And Lynn Baldwin again says, thanks for the name of the book. I will read it. And Beth Perry's joining us, and she's saying, hello, ladies. You guys have a question for her. We have about 2 minutes. We have a question, and we're going to do the drawing to see who's the lucky person who chatted today to get a 30-minute reading with this beautiful, lovely Michael Sue Scott. The readings are amazing. You're going to love her. Any questions, ladies? You got, or gentlemen, whoever is here, you got just a few, less than a minute now. We're going to do the drawing. Nope, I guess we're good. We're going to do the drawing. I have to leave because I have to do the drawing. I haven't been able to get it on where we can watch it on the screen, but it's another page I got to go to tied to this, and it will tell me who wins the 30-minute reading. Somebody does. I'd like to know how, they're coming. I'd like to know how I can become more intuitive.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the love meditation that I recommend is going to be something that's, it's going to be 20 minutes. Get a kitchen timer that dings instead of you having to touch it. Do 20 minutes of just love. The word love, you can either say it out loud or keep it to yourself. I'd like to keep it to yourself and keep your eyes open or close them, but get where, you think you may not be able to go to sleep, because it's a little bit easier to do it that way. And I want you to do that once a day. And with your eyes closed, a lot of times you may begin at the end of it. You'll either go out or you'll go to sleep. Okay. And so if you're able to do the love, things will come up over and over to distract you. Oh, I forgot to put the laundry in the dryer. Things like that you'll remember anyway. Ignore that. Go right back to the word love and stay on that until you're going to begin to, with time, be able to get direct information. Okay. And what will happen is you'll either go out, which is getting direct information, or you'll like feel like you went to sleep, but it'll be restful and you'll wake up and you'll be energized. So it's not that big of a deal. If you do it at nighttime, and you do this right before sleep, it will enhance your dreams. And the other thing I'll say about dreams is, there's a fantastic book that I've used since I've had it for forever, and it was probably the best dream symbol book that I've ever had. And if you want to write me, michaelsuscott.com, you can put that information in there, and I just, for whatever reason, I'm forgetting the information on the book, but you can write me and I'll send you, or I can text you a picture of what the book looks like. It's only used right now, but it was in production for a long time. So you can get it for like $4, but it's like the best dream symbol book that there is.
Wow.
What else? Oh, do that love meditation and you'll begin to start getting information on your own. It really will work. And love is like our highest vibration, right? So we want to be able to like just stay with that. And I like the word bright too, but love is the best one. And if you'll do that, you'll start either getting stuff on your blank screen, or you'll start just like knowing. Walking in nature is another good way to do it, to where you're walking. So what that does is it busies the mind and busies the body so that you're actually connecting with God. Okay.
That's a good question and a good answer. And we have another one. Kathy Drum. Do you see my book done?
I do everything based on sound. So this isn't a good format for me to be able to answer that question though, but I thank you for asking me that though.
Mm-hmm. Julie Moore, Spirit Sprit, says, hi, ladies. And we just want to say thank you for answering all these questions. We are going to do the drawing. Let me see who won the half-hour reading here. It just takes a few seconds, and then I will see the confetti. Eventually, you'll be able to see the confetti pretty soon and who the winner is, but I have to do it behind the scene on another page. Julie Morse wrote, I want to start creating my life. You can continue with her.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so do we have a winner yet?
I'm doing it right now. It's taking a second. We're doing the draw. Names are running, all the faces are running. We just got to see who won. I don't know who it is. Lynn Baldwin.
Okay. All right. Well, send me her information and we'll get her set up for her 30-minute free reading.
On the screen.
And it's Zoom. I do everything on Zoom and it's recorded and I send you the reading for it.
Lynn, just make sure you email me at sherrylordpodcast@gmail.com. Plus, I know who you are. You can text me too. And I can forward your information, how she can get a hold of you. I will forward that to her through an email or through a text. We just want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank all of our listeners and all the people who are participating and everyone that's here. And Julie had, I want to start creating my life. Do you have anything for Julie?
Julie, start meditating every day, 20 minutes every day.
Yep. And she'll get her clarity. That's what it felt like. And so what I'd like to do now is I'm just going to say thank you to everyone and Michael Suscott for being on our show. We definitely have her back. She's a lot of fun with a wealth of information and very insightful. And how can people get a hold of you if they want a reading by you too?
My website or my phone number is 941-726-1234. And I have a scheduling program on my website, michaelsuscott.com, where you can go in and just absolutely just schedule whatever works for you. I really, because I'm so in depth with the very first reading, especially with all the ancestral information, I really prefer somebody to have the hour reading for the first time. And then after that, it can be like, once we get up to like where you're making decisions right now, then it's super easy. And I have people who just like text me and say, do you have time for a quick 20-minute follow-up or whatever at various points? But I have a lot of that comes up later. But the first one, super important that we get all that information so we know where your blocks are and we get rid of them.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Michael Suscott, for being on our show. And we just want to thank all of our listeners and all the wonderful people who chatted with us today, and Lynn for winning her 30-minute reading. And we'll see you guys. Make sure you go to www.sherrylord.com/podcast to see information on Michael Sue Scott or on our new people that we have coming weekly. They are posted there for more information where you can read about them or click on to get to their website. Have an amazing, blessed day and a prosperous life. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.